Thank you for tuning in to the Shakaama Politics. We're going live here because I simply didn't want to sit on this news before the day starts. And I would have to take hours to make the video. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is Trump Jr. and the breaking news that I received from YouTube talking about Trump Jr. Now, it's absolutely no surprise to anyone that YouTube is going to be siding with the DNC and the Democrats in the mainstream media, which are all leftist organizations, leftist communist organizations, who are going to try and push the narrative that Donald Trump did something treasonous even. And ergo, vis-a-vis, concordantly, we should impeach President Trump because he's his son. Okay, for those of you who don't know the story, supposedly Donald Trump Jr. was told that he was going to be meeting with a Russian government official. The person in question that he was going to meet with actually should not have been here. Her visa had expired, and all it was a Russian lawyer. She's not connected with the Russian government whatsoever. The Russian government also sent out an official statement saying that she's not in the employ of the Russian government, nor has she ever been in the employ of the Russian government. Her visa had expired under Obama. Well, they are talking about secrets. He gave out secrets. That's treason. But okay, well, Donald Trump Jr., actually never gave out any secrets, never gave out anything, actually. So now they're trying to, so I went to law school, for those who don't know, 3 years in law school. They're trying to split hairs and redo and reinterpret the law, and it says that if you gain anything of value. Well, clearly, in the sentence that the law is stating, it says money or anything of value, meaning like if they give you a car, if they give you a jet or something like that, that would be anything of value. No, what they're trying to say is, oh, he was prepared to receive. Well, it doesn't matter. You can't almost kill a man. I mean, you can't be tried for murder, but all you did was almost kill a man, right? You understand? We're not talking about manslaughter. We're not talking about attempted homicide or anything like that. We're talking about they're trying to get you for first-degree murder. You can't claim first-degree murder on somebody who didn't actually kill somebody. He received nothing of value, and the person in question turned out to be just simply a lawyer whose visa had expired under Obama. Oh, lo and behold, now we have information that the DNC, that Hillary Clinton, that the campaign managers for Hillary Clinton, and Obama himself also all met with this person 2 weeks before meeting with Donald Trump Jr. And they did, in fact, receive something of value. They did, in fact, trade secrets and information to this person, and the person trying to get involved with this person. Now, this particular person, the lawyer in question, met with Donald Trump, and she discussed orphanages and adoptions in Russia with Donald Trump Jr. That's the entire story. Those are all of the facts. I wanted to get this out there before you started reading all this stuff of, CNN. They're trying to connect the Russia story. Now, come to find out that the company that set up this meeting for this woman to meet with Donald Trump Jr. are the ones who put out all of the fake news about Donald Trump. 1 second here. Somebody says, yeah, it's a nothing burger. It's absolutely nothing. She met with him and discussed Russian adoption, which on my main channel I have an entire video about Russian adoptions and how they systematically lie and pawn off very damaged children to people, and now They have, hence, because they said Americans are so bad with children, that they have banned Americans being able to adopt Russian children's. It's late. Okay, so so that's what they discussed, and they said, well, he had hoped to get Russian secrets from the person in question. We don't know what he had hoped for, and there is no evidence of hoping. You can't prove hoping. And he released his entire email trail over this person before the New York Times did. He preempted them. His team actually asked the New York Times to hold off because they were still negotiating, or they were still gathering their thoughts as to a response, when in fact they went ahead and preempted them, and he released the entire email trail. Now they're saying he lied 6 months ago when he said that he had never met with any foreign government. She doesn't work for the Russian government, and there was nothing that he gained from this meeting. They're literally trying to create facts that are not there. Now, what was the second thing? Oh, okay. This the Senate. Oh, by the way, we have on record that Obama himself met with the Russians and did promise this and that and the other, which we don't know. Nobody's investigated that because nobody's going to investigate that, right? Because at the time, his Attorney General was in power, and Comey was the FBI director at the time, and nobody's going to do anything. The Justice Department was under his thumb. Nobody's actually going to do anything under Obama, and nobody thought to. Good morning, Sylvia G. Let me see here. The next topic we're discussing is the health care bill. So there's two health care bills running around the Senate and Congress. But, hello Dylan Botha. But, in both of the health care bills, they are not removing the taxes. You thought you had elected somebody to repeal Obamacare. And for those people who are still confused about Obamacare, let me explain. The author of it said in an interview with none other than Alex Jones that Obamacare was set up to destroy healthcare in the United States. What was the purpose? The purpose was, once Obamacare became into law and everybody was forced to pay automatically just by virtue of being born, which is against the Constitution. You can't force people to pay something just cause. And it used to be that way with income taxes and personal taxes and stuff like that. But they had the 1913 came along and IRS was formed and all that sort of stuff, right? The law is still there. The constitutional law is still there that you're not supposed to. But Obama had his thumb on the neck of Justice, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, who then declared that it was not a tax. It was something. What did he say? What was the decision? It was not a tax. It was something else. Anyway, they force you to pay for health insurance. But the entire system was designed to implode. Why? Because they knew the way insurance works is... Let's see, can I get back? The way insurance works is that you have people over here... I'm sorry. You're supposed to have people over here... About like that. People over here who pay, and nothing happens to them. And they collect all of this money for years and years and years. And after a while, these people die off. So they never collect any insurance or anything like that, right? And then the people way over here are the ones who actually collect. So these are the people who bleed insurance. So in health insurance, of course, it's the old people over here and the young people are over here, right? So they knew that young people would not, in fact, buy health care, which is the only way that the system could work, because young people don't need health insurance, because young people are nice and healthy and Kaloo, and they're going to live forever, and what do I need health insurance for? Boom, right? They would need 7 times the number of young people to buy health insurance to the old people that buy health insurance to help pay for the old people. This is why you have in Arizona health insurance going up by 110% or 120%. This is why you have, Maine, it going up 80%, 70%. Crazy stuff across the country where health insurance is just going, boom, goes up, up, up. When you first instituted it, the very first day that it was actually instituted, health insurance went up about 100%, if not 200 to 300% for most people. There were some fortunate people who it did not because they already had Cadillac sort of insurance to begin with, and those still applied, but some people's Cadillac stuff did not meet the requirements for Obamacare because he included stuff, or they included stuff, that you don't need to pay for. Like a man doesn't need to pay for birth control or contraception or anything like that, right? So the man is being charged for stuff that he does not use for somebody else to use. Or old people, or old women who are barren and unmarried and who don't do anything, like Catholic nuns who clearly are not going to go out and do anything when they're 90 years old. And they finally won in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court finally held that Obama could not force them to pay for all of this stuff that goes against their religion, right? Because we are beholden to not infringe the government, not regular people. The government is not supposed to infringe on religion. That's the only real separation of church and state that there is. Well, the Supreme Court finally held that the little sisters of the flying nuns or whatever do not have to pay. Okay, finally we get that resolved, but the damage was already done as far as the rest of Obamacare, that young people were not going to pay. And at the end here, they were talking about, well, let's raise that penalty on the IRS if you don't buy the health care to like $30,000 or something crazy, something outrageous, because people were simply paying the penalty. And I know a few of you, I don't know if the people who have come over and subscribed here, asked me if I could look up whether or not they had set aside that penalty. Well, Trump on his very first week, remember this first week when he was getting work done and just doing everything? One of the things he said that the immediate effect was the IRS would not would not seek people who had not paid for the health care. That was one of the first acts that he did. That is an executive order. He is over the IRS, so his executive order does in fact apply. Don't let anybody tell you differently. Now, what they have in Congress right now are 2 bills, but they want to keep the tax. They want to keep forcing people to pay for health insurance. That's not going to go away. And because his executive order wouldn't apply to this new bill unless he did a new one, you would still have to pay. So these are the people that you all have been putting your trust in to do away with Obamacare. And I wrote President Trump himself, or I emailed him. I don't know if he read it or anybody read it, but I said, we don't need to replace it. We want Obamacare removed completely, and we want to destroy these state monopolies of health insurance companies. That is illegal under the antitrust laws, right? So why are we allowing completely? Of course, I'm not asking this as a question. This is just simply a throwaway question. I already know that they, in fact, collude with all of the states, and they all say, "Well, I'm gonna take Minnesota. I'm gonna take Wisconsin. I'm gonna take Texas. I'm gonna, that's what they do." And then they pay off all the people's campaigns. And because the way that a lot of the state elections are written, they can do that. Outside forces can pay for people's campaigns. I believe there was something like somebody running for mayor somewhere, and he raised $20 million. Something crazy. $20 million. That's a national campaign. That's something you do, not for mayor. So everybody's sort of looking sideways now at what's really going on, but I hope people are waking up. There's some supposedly Hillary Clinton is under investigation. Of course, this is not in the news. Nobody's covering this. Nobody wants to cover this. Nobody wants to admit that she's under investigation. I believe she's now up to 8 different investigations. So why not just make it simple? I can buy my health care from any Medicaid anywhere, and it's valid anywhere. Why is it so complex? Well, the thing is that would be the single payer that they're trying to actually implement, but they want to tag on to that all this other stuff that they want to put on there, right? So everybody pays, and so they want men to pay for breast cancer testing and birth control and all this other stuff that clearly men will never use, or child something, or women paying for something that they will never use, cannot use, simply to beef up the cost of the insurance. This is all about insurance. This has nothing to do with actual health care. What we should do is get rid of insurance altogether, because the doctors are already doing concierge healthcare. That means that you go into the doctor's office, and he literally has a menu of all of the stuff that he does, and it is 1/10 the cost of what it is charged for in a hospital. Even the super duper expensive rare stuff is still about 60% or 40% less than it is in the hospital. It's called a concierge doctor. So if you ever have cash, I pay cash for everything that I do. Everything that I've ever done, I paid cash. And this is something that they kept lying about when they were amping up for Obamacare. 60 million people don't have health care. 60 million people don't have health care. Well, 40 million of those people pay cash. Can afford to pay cash, have always paid cash. And even after Obamacare, they did not sign up. Had no intention of signing up, will never sign up. Given the option, they're not going to. I don't need to, because I save my money. I'm very good with money. I have the Shakaama Finance channel. If you ever want to watch that, I'll be amping that up here shortly. So even after they said, 60 million people, and then they said point blank, even after Obamacare, even with the subsidies, 20 million people still, who didn't have health care before, still didn't have it. And I met plenty of people here in real life that said that they were not eligible for the subsidies. They could not get Obamacare. They would have to pay for, and it was like single mothers and stuff like that. And plenty of men, of course. So Obamacare was never designed to actually take care of the quote-unquote problem. The problem was never insurance. The problem has never been insurance. Or shall I say the problem is insurance. And Obamacare only covered insurance. It didn't actually touch healthcare itself. The concierge doctor, that's the solution. Everybody get like Dr. Ben Carson said, get a voucher card or whatever, a healthcare card, and any money that you donate into it is completely tax exempt. They don't want that. You know for a fact they didn't like his speech at all. But he was calling for a health card that you can pay into. It is tax exempt, so every year you whatever you put into it is completely comes right off of your taxes. So then you go visit the concierge doctor, who does the same exact procedures for a tenth of the price of the current system. Why? Because insurance, nobody sees the cost because insurance pays for the cost, but insurance does stuff like cause the hospital to raise the prices because insurance only pays 60, 50, 40% of the actual charge, because they say that this is what they have determined the cost of the thing is. So what the hospital does and the doctors do is raise their rates to meet the actual cost, because they still have to keep a hospital open. They need to keep the lights on, and they got to pay all the nurses and the janitors and the orderlies and the doctor. All of that, the only way that they make money is to charge for patients that come through the door. It's a business. So the insurance doesn't quite pay them, and the government is even worse. The government pays like 20 to 30% of the actual cost of the actual charge, right? So then the dentist and the doctor and everybody has to keep raising their prices. Why? Because the cost of living goes up, and these insurance companies will not pay for a cost of living adjustment. So with Obamacare, was government able to look through our medical history? Supposedly HIPAA is in place, but I believe in Obamacare. I read it a couple of years ago. I actually read the whole thing a couple of years ago. And yes, they are literally bureaucrats in Washington could pull up your file and look at it. Okay, so the Senate bill that's going, the Senate and the congressional bill that's going through, the Republican and the Democrat bill, they do not do away with the tax. They do not do away with the single payer mandate. These are the people that you elected. If you voted for these people, I would get on the phone and call their office immediately and say, what's the deal? We elected you to get rid of Obamacare. Get rid of it. And specifically, get rid of the single-payer mandate. But that is not what they're doing. I knew they weren't going to do that, of course, right? But who listens to me? Now, I'm a little bit offended by certain YouTubers who don't do their research. Going back to the Trump Jr. thing, they just don't do the research, and so then they make this conclusion, and then they stand behind their conclusion when in fact it's all erroneous. And then of course, but who am I? Right? Who am I? So Comey is still being investigated or whatever. He's in it, and there's a topic that I do not want to get into. I don't even want to touch on it. But people asked me to look into the stuff with Hillary Clinton and Weiner and Huma Abedin, and it turns out that not only is it true, but it's international. All the bankers are involved. Just people who you would think they would be completely, not even related to Hillary Clinton. And this is probably why she got all these millions of dollars to the foundation, because she was involved in this heinous mess. Just disgusting. I don't even want to look at it or pay attention to that sort of stuff. And come to find it is very true. And of course, Google and Twitter are completely removing anybody who talks about it. Now, I don't even mention it in chat, but I'm sure if you keep up with politics, you will in fact know. So yes, Trump Jr. did release all of the emails, every single one of them. And of course, they're having a problem with that Probably because they they want to they wanted to get in front of it and do their own spin on it, and now they're trying to spin what's in the email and saying no, it didn't happen, and this is what it actually means when there's no meaning to it. What's going on? What? What the? Oh my god! Oh my god! I'm looking at the Twitter feed and this stuff. Oh my god! They put out a thing that said they they put out a thing talking about the children's book. Oh, what's her name? Chelsea Clinton is being sued by a man who said that she stole his entire book, published it, released it, and is gathering money on his book idea. So she's being sued for that. And of course, then there people are saying that the entire family is corrupt. And the book is a children's book for feminism, saying something about being released or I'm free or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a feminist. There was a I'm not gonna. I won't talk about that either. Well, I'm looking at all of the breaking, trending stuff. So I have scruples, so I don't like talking about. Oh my god. Oh goodness. You all should really see this. Anyway, those are the topics that I want to discuss today. Thank you all for tuning in to the live feed. If you really like the live feed, go ahead and like the video that will be produced in about 30 minutes. Thank you. Let's do it this way.